Hi there, if you want to learn how to create sound effects, then you are in the right place. In this video, I'm actually answering a viewer's question on one of my videos who asked, hey dude, can you do a video on what you're doing in RX to clean the sounds up before you start stacking them, or any info on this would be greatly appreciated. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. So without further ado, let's get into RX. All right, so here we are inside of RX. And here I have a recording that I took with my Zoom F6 recorder, and the microphone I was using was an MKH 416 shotgun microphone. And I was recording in 32-bit, so you'll notice here that a lot of my recording here is quite soft, and then I have a really loud part here. This was actually an accident where I just like hit something. So actually, I already know I don't need this, so I'm just gonna turn this way down. And the first thing I like to do here is I like to select everything and just normalize everything, especially when I'm recording 32-bit. I know I'm not boosting any kind of noise or anything like that. That's kind of the bonus of recording in 32-bit. You can kind of boost stuff as much as you want or bring stuff down in post. So that's what I'm doing here. And this is what my recording looks like. So if we have a listen. All right, so I'm just swinging stuff inside of or in front of the microphone here. And so yeah, first thing, normalize. Next thing that I normally do or check is the EQ. So I like to normally cut out anything below 20, below, even sometimes below 100, just because it's not really information that I need in most recordings. Not always. Again, it depends. Like if I'm doing stuff like ambiances, I'll probably keep it, but it depends. So for instance, in this recording, I don't really need information below there, so I might just render below 90 and just do a low cut. Right, now we have this here. Right, so you can see here, I kind of cut out a lot of that low end information there, which I just didn't really need. And one of the other reasons why I do that is because a lot of the times, if you have too much information in the low end, that's what is actually causing all of your sounds here to like be really loud or to peak. So now, usually after cutting that out, I can normally normalize my sounds again sometimes, and then I can get more volume out of my sounds. So that's another reason why I do that. All right, next is I like to denoise my sounds, especially when I'm in a louder environment, or even if I'm not, I like to clean up my noise files, the noise out of my sound files. So what I'll do here is normally whenever I'm recording anything, I'll usually have a bit of time where I have some silence just to get some room tone or the ambience that I'm recording in. So that's what I have here. And here I have a preset on my Stream Deck that I like to use, but let me show you what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to click on Learn here. Okay, so that's going to learn that noise profile. The next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm not just going to render that noise profile right away and just remove the noise. What I want to do is listen to what it's going to remove. And then I'm going to play around with the threshold and reduction here to get the cleanest reduction that I can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press preview, and I'm only going to output the noise. And what you'll notice is it's going to be super quiet. So what I do here is I crank up my volume on my speakers for this section, because if not, it's going to be really quiet. Right, so there you can hear like it's really, I'm trying to pump it a lot more so you can really hear kind of the artifact or the noise suppression that is happening. Obviously, I don't want that. So what I like to do is, with my noise all the way up, cranked up in my speakers now, I want to bring it down to where I can barely hear it. And the reason for that is that once it's at a point where I can barely hear it, I know that first of all, I'm not going to hear it if it was just cleaned up and I was just playing the noise file normally. But also, when I bring it into my DAW, if I start adding compression and limiting and other effects on it, I know that the denoise won't be heard. It still won't be heard, or won't be heard as much. Like I'm gonna have to do a lot of compression to start hearing that pumping effect. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm just gonna preview and find a sweet spot where I barely start to hear it, but it's still reducing noise here. Okay, so about there is good for me. So I'm just going to remove the output noise only. And now I'm going to render this on the entire file. All right, so now it's been applied. So if we have a listen to what, or we can even have a look at what it was like before. We had this, and then after we have this. So it just removed a little bit. It wasn't too much. Okay, but that's good for me. All right, once I've done the denoise, one of the other things that I like to do is spectral repair. So here I actually have a different recording. This one I took with the Sony D100, and this is an ambience recording of wind. So for ambiences, I don't usually use denoise because I actually want all the noise in the ambience. But what I do instead is I'll do some spectral repair. So if we look on our list here, I have spectral repair here. I can bring it up here. Normally I'll do horizontal to find, well, it depends on the information that I have here. But for something like here, I can see that I have a lot of bass, probably because my microphones were getting blown out. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select the part where my microphone is getting blown out, and maybe not too much of it, maybe just like that. And then what I'll do here is I'll normally do the horizontal, and then I can render that. There you go. So it really cleaned up that bass here. Right, it just sounds a lot better. Now you could hear in the recording here I have a little click. Right, so if I wanted to clean that up, I could do the same thing here using my selection here, which is shortcut R, time frequency selection tool. I can just select where the click is happening because I can see it here in the spectrogram, just like that. It's okay if it's a little bit on either side. And then same thing here. I have it set to 128 bands. You can play around with what might sound best. So under attenuate because I want to remove the sound here. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna again render that, and you can see here it just disappeared. So if I play it again, right, so now you don't have the microphones being blown out, and you remove that little click that's in the recording. All right, so with that done, let's go back to our previous recording here and keep going with our steps for cleaning up our sounds. Next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove any talking that I did at the beginning or at the end or preparation that I did when I started the recorder. This is usually me slating the recording, so like just saying what I'm recording and what I'm using and stuff like that. So I'm just going to cut that out entirely here, this here, and this here. And also at this point, I will also cut out anything that I don't need. So I know that this section here, I don't want. Yeah, so I'm just going to cut all of that out here, and I might also not want this ending here. So I'm just going to cut that out here. Now, this is going to be the file that I do want. So next, I'm going to just normalize everything again, just to get, just to normalize everything. Here at the beginning and at the end, I'm going to do just a fade in and fade out, just so I don't get any clicks or weird sounds when I play it back. So for this particular recording, I still find the noise level really, really loud. So I might try to reduce it even more. But actually, because I'm not sure how tight I'm going to chop up these sounds, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export these. So I have I'm just exporting it back into the folder where I got this file from on my Zoom F6. And I'm going to bring it into my DAW here. And I have a preset here that is just going to do dynamic split. For me, it's D. If you look inside of the action list here, you can see edit dynamic split items. That's what I'm using here. So if I just click it and I split, I have all my items on here and they're pretty tight. So what I like to do personally is I like to extend out. Well, I'll check out depending on the source that I'm using here, I'm going to look at where the tail and the beginning starts and ends here. So I'm just going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to add in a fade in and a fade out like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into here. I'm actually going to reorganize them so that they are 1 second apart, just so it's clean here. And then I'm going to listen through and see what we got. So for example, this one that is really bassy, I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to do the same with any other ones that I find that are not usable. Right, once I've gone through, double checked all of them, I can then put regions around each one of them, and then I can export them. All right, so I hope you found that video useful and valuable. If you want to see another video where I just talk about a whole bunch of different tips that I use to create quieter recordings, better recordings, cleaner recordings, I'll have that on the screen here. If you have any comments or questions, leave it down below. I always read them and do my best to answer them. And I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.